Hi.
Hi, Vicky.
How are y'all today?
Good. How you doing?
All right. Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
All right.
How
How
about
about
now?
you?
Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Hmm.
All right. I don't know. It's really odd that my phone didn't pick up. How's that now? Better?
Much better.
And welcome, Vicky.
Hi.
Hey, I'm going to try this one more time with the headphone and see if that works now.
You're kind of like far
Can't hear
away,
me.
like really just went.
Oh, just distance now?
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
A little better. It seems like you have like, it's a little bit of like muffled, like not clear, but
That's really weird. All right, let's try it. How's that? Better?
a little bit.
All right, let's go for that. Hey, everybody. So I want to officially welcome Vicky to the Food Talk lineup. As many of you may have met Vicky in an earlier episode of our Grub Match. She is on board, and you will be seeing that lovely face in a whole bunch of lives in the next few weeks, and eventually rolling in. Of course, all of you know Chris. Chris has been with us, a steadfast supporter and Food Talk boxer and help and team member. So we're up and ready to go. And welcome to my Thursday lunch live, everybody.
Hey.
All right, so I'm gonna do a really simple dish today. Um, Two parts. So the first part I want to ask people is, how many of you know? You ever go buy ground sausage at the store and you're like, it's not what I wanted. I wanted that sausage that you bought at the butcher. Hey, Moses. Well, I'm going to
Hey.
show you how to make that sausage that you would get normally at the butcher on Italian sausage, the kind of sausages that you would buy on the street. And the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, you have to be ready to spice it your own. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to spice up a batch. I've got a batch I spiced up last night. And then I'm going to make some sausage sliders out of it. And I'm going to top it with this grape salad slash salsa. Now remember, in Italy, grapes are one of the predominant fruits. So pork and grapes go really well. It's just not something we often do here. In some Mexican cuisines, they do, Italian cuisines, and a couple other European. So we're going to try it. So the first thing is, how many of you hate touching sausage if you don't have gloves handy and you're going to do a lot of things? You know, there's a way you can mix your stuff. If you're only going to do a pound or so, get out those Ziploc bags or any brand bag that you have, and we're going to just mix it. I don't have to touch it at all at this point.
That's a good idea.
You can make a custom blend. Now, I'm going to post later on the website my version of a house seasoning. I don't really buy seasoning blends. I know everybody, a lot of the food talkers like some of the commercial custom blends. I don't, for a variety of reasons, mostly preference. I prefer, is that Bradley? Hey, Bradley. Hey, Sketchy. Um, I prefer to
Hey.
make my own blend. Why? Because I can start with the basics and then I can amp up the flavors I like. So I make my own blend. And in this blend, here, let me show you what it looks like. Wow, what a whiff. In my blend, I use black pepper, dried parsley. I make my own Italian seasoning mix as well. So I make up a big
Me
jar of
too.
this because most of us have, I would say 80% of the recipe of the ingredients already. So I mix it up. I add that to this mix. Then I also use, let's see, what else do I throw in my version? Crushed red peppers. You can use fennel or anise. I use fennel. In this particular recipe, when I do sausage, I'm very fennel heavy because I love the taste of fennel in sausage. So you can amp any of the flavors up. I put some smoky paprika. You can put dried onion flakes and then salt. So that's what I already mixed up the other night. The recipe I'll give you will be enough seasoning to do 2 pounds of sausage. So I have 1 pound here and 1 pound I did last night. And I use, well, that trending statement, measure with your heart, that's all over TikTok now. Well, this is definitely
Yeah.
one of those moments. So take your home seasoning blend, and it's a good healthy teaspoon, or tablespoon rather. Good healthy tablespoon. Dump it in. Now, remember I said I'm fennel heavy? Well, in this case, I know I made my initial mix. I know what it tastes like, and now I'm going to add some more fennel. Now, in the one that's in here, I roasted. I toasted it and I ground it a little bit. So now this one, I'm just using straight out of my bottle. So it'll be
Nice.
2 different dimensions to the fennel. Then
I love fennel.
partially close your bag and then just mush it. Mush it, mush it, mush it. You don't have to touch it at all. Look, you just mixed up without over touching it. You don't have to do anything. Now, this is for when you want your bold sausage. I'm not making meatloaf with this. I'm not making anything fancy that I'm going to need breadcrumbs or eggs. This is just to season plain pork, ground pork. And what I did is, this is now going to be the equivalent of Italian seasoned sausage link that you might buy at the grocery store. If I add more red peppers, it's going to go hot. I can make it more sweet by adding other flavoring. Now, once you've got it nice and mixed, you have to look. And you know you've done it when you've got this nice even distribution. Do you see? It looks like it's already distributed. Then take the air out of your bag, put it on your table, pretend you're 10 years old again in art class with your Play-Doh, make a little bit of a roll, squeeze the air out. Now, if you do this for 30 minutes, you're great. It's even better if you wait all overnight. So I did one last night. Ta-da! That's what I want. Why do I shape it this way? Because now I don't have to do much other than take a cut, roll it real fast, and throw it in the pan when I'm ready to cut it. This is quick, easy way. The other part of this, for some of you who are like me, who loves his freezer, I can date these, and I have 1 pound of seasoned sausage rolled in the freezer, taking up very little space, instead of freezing them in these.
There you go.
So
that's a super good hack.
Wow, that's great, Frank.
Before I actually cook those, because those only take 4 or 5 minutes aside, I want to talk about the grape salad. Yes, it's a grape salad. I'm using the recipe, and I've seen several uses these little tiny cotton candy grapes. I'll be honest, I don't know what the big thing is about them. Yeah, they're a little sweeter, and I love grapes. I eat a huge amount of grapes. So these are about $5.
I don't find anything different either with those.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. The regular grapes right now are coming into season. They're bigger. They're about $3.29 a pound. You can choose. The reality is I don't think they're much different. But I wanted to be more true to the recipe. I'm going to use the cotton candy grapes. Here's the bad part. You got to cut them. And it takes a while. And the reason you want to cut these is we're going to marinate them. They're going to be a quick marinade. So if you don't cut them, it doesn't pierce the skin as well, so you won't get the flavor. So this is one of those things. You got to put your music on. You got to pretend you're Moises. Put your music on loud or put your headphones on. Just jam out to the music. If you happen to have an indentured slave, i.e. a child who can handle a knife, or a partner or a spouse who is kind of hanging out in the kitchen, hand it to them and say, I want you to cut them off. You can do the big trick that people were talking about earlier, last year, where you cover the cherry tomatoes to slice them. I'll be honest, I've done that trick. It's kind of fun the first time, but I don't know. By the time I get it, I get the cover, I get the lids, and I do it, I'm halfway done, to be honest.
You might as yeah, exactly.
And I don't need these perfectly cut. You can go equator, you can do half and half. It doesn't really matter. All I want is these to be cut so that I can season them and get some of the spices and the vinegar into the bowl. Now, the
I love
recipe
grapes,
calls
so I'm excited
for
about
about
this.
2 cups. What's that?
I said I love grapes, so I'm excited about this.
I do too. I love, I've eaten heated grapes. They can be good. But I will eat grapes. Matter of fact, they are my go-to when I get concerned that I'm not working out, or maybe I've had a little too much, because I don't know if anybody saw me Saturday make that very low calorie cheese and spiced meat pie, which had absolutely no calories, no sodium, no cholesterol, right, Chris? Um,
Yes.
I, I
Yes.
find that if I have a bowl of grapes, I will eat them throughout the day, and it takes care of my craving for sugars.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
less likely to open up a piece of chocolate, which I always have
right.
near my desk, or get
Hmm.
up and go nibble something.
It's true.
So sometimes it's just access. I do the same thing in the winter with tangerines, small kind of orangey type things that I can peel. In the summer, I tend to use grapes, cherries, and then off season, I'm often going to use things like dried fruit, and I just keep them in a container. Matter of fact, I think I have it in here. See, even when I'm back here prepping, I have a version of dried fruit, because I'll snack on this instead of going to reach for chocolate that I'm almost always have handy.
Hmm.
All right, so for this grape salsa, so to speak, one container. If you're buying the cotton candy grapes, they come in about a 1 pound package, and that's a pretty close to 2 cups. And the recipe calls for 2 cups, so it's an approximate. I actually did measure it when I was washing these last night. I actually spent the time to make sure I was measuring them. Uh, and sometimes I want texture, so I'm going to leave some whole, because sometimes I want to see what it is. It doesn't have to be completely uniform. All right. Step one. And I only ate 2 or 3. Not too bad. I also, and this is where I want, and the other part of this, I want this to have a sweet, savory feel, but I also don't want it to be so sweet that I lose it. So I'm adding some of the traditional grapes. I'm cutting them differently, so I'm going to cut them more from north to south and mix them in. They'll add a little bit different tartness, a little bit dimension, but still stay within the grape family. Now you can use any kind of grape. I would say stay away from seeded grapes, but if you love red grapes and they're seedless, I would say use them. Really,
Go
just
for
use
it.
them.
Yeah.
All right. So I have my grapes are cut up. Just, that looks like salad for me. Give me some yogurt and I'm good to go. But we're going to dress it up for you. So we're going to now add a serrano pepper. Serranos are a little bit hotter than jalapenos. They're not as hot as some others, but they do have a bit of a bite to it. I warn people all the time. They do have a bite. So one of my tips is I'm going to want to make sure that I can take out the shell and the ribbing. And one of the ways that I do it is I actually just use a straw and literally just go right through like that.
Wow.
And I've got this clean, look how clean that is. Now, I use a straw only for peppers. I will pop this out with the cleaner, and I keep it in my one place, and I have it in a Ziploc bag, and it's because I know it's going to be not the kind of thing that I want to put into something I'm going to drink afterwards.
Yeah, that's a spicy tea,
Let me tell you.
But that was a
When I
great
did it,
hack.
I
Yeah.
made the
Yeah.
mistake, and I forgot to do
Oh,
that when I made the pickled jardiniere salad with the
yeah.
serranos. I heard about it for several days. Yeah, sometimes it's just stuff happens. So, I'm using one small serrano. I want a little bit of heat. I'm going to probably add a little bit of red pepper flakes as well, because they offer a different heat. But if you don't like heat, go more mild. Totally go more mild. You could use a different kind of a different kind of pepper that you like. Use it. if you want a more peppery flavor, but you don't want it as heat, maybe look for jalapenos that's not quite as hot, but don't guarantee because I've had some really hot jalapenos. It really will depend on your preferences, so to speak. Now, I'm in a kick this month on shallots. Don't ask me why, but I'm on a shallot kick. For some reason, I'm all about using shallots instead of onions and green onions. So part of it is, I think when I was looking at this recipe, shallots have a sweeter taste. There's something, especially if you cook with them. I got to tell you, I made something recently at home, and I used shallots. And I also think because they're smaller, I don't throw them away as much. I tend to use them a little bit more. Let me get this out of the way for now. This way you can actually see what I'm cutting. How's that? Better? Can you see that?
Much better.
All right.
You could see.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thinly slice my shallots up into these little rings. I'm going to give them a little bit of a cut, mostly just to have them. So when I sprinkle them in here, they're going to be like little tiny strings, like shoelaces almost. Also, shallots tend to cure faster in a marinade than, say, onions will. Although I love marinated onions, they take a little bit extra time, and I wanted something that was quick, that I could theoretically start this, figure out what I have to defrost for dinner, and be ready to go pretty quickly. Now, I saw a version of this recipe actually recently on one of the professional TV cooks, and I liked the recipe quite a bit. It's similar. I probably do a little bit differently, but what it tells me is this isn't rocket science, and I'm not an originator. It's just lots of variations. All right. So we're talking, it's just supposed to have flavor.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, it looks so simple, Frank. It looks just so simple.
It's very, very simple. It totally is. All right, I'm going to use a lemon. So it has the zest of lemon. Probably for this size lemon, I'm going to go about half the zest. So I washed my lemons last night. These aren't organic, so I gave them a really good scrub. And I'm going to do the same thing with the lime. So this has citrus three different ways, actually. It's going to have all of the zest of one lime, which I have to say I'm not a big lime fan, but I do love the smell of fresh lime zest. So it's one of those things where sometimes there's a smell or a food that if you taste out of context, you don't really like, but then you use it in a meal, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that works. This lime for me is one of those things. I didn't like lime candy growing up, but when I add lime, especially if I want something different, it works. All right.
I like lime jello. I like lime jello.
Okay, I am one of the weird people that for me, the synthetic flavor of jello, it doesn't equate to anything for me. It just, I'll eat jello. I ate jello as a kid all the time, but I could never put two and two together for the natural flavor. I know Bradley's in the room, and if you've seen our 10-second cooking school, Bradley showed you don't have a fancy metal squeezer. Just use your tongs.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm.
Everybody, and there's another one.
Screen, everybody. Make sure y'all tap the screen and share the live. Thank you.
So, Chris, do you want to tell everybody about Food Talk while I'm prepping?
Yes, absolutely.
While I'm squeezing away?
Absolutely. Guys, we are Food Talk TV. We're a group of creators that go live once or twice a day. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. We would like you to give us a follow. You could tap right there on top where it says Food Talk TV, and you could follow us and also tick the bell, and that will let you know when we go live. And also give Frank, the host, as well. Frank has 2 accounts, Frank_Mentor SF, and his other new channel, which is Kitchen Bear SF, right here on TikTok.
Thank you. And also, if you are part of our Food Talk family and you are noticing a new face in the box, but a familiar face to us. We also have a new member. We're going to be having lots of new folks and new faces as we're moving forward. So if you aren't following Chris and Vicky, please follow them because you are in for some treats on comments and skills and foods and all of the fun stuff. All
Hi,
right, so
everyone. Thank you.
let's go back. Oh, I'm excited. So all this has is lemon juice, the juice of one lemon, juice of one lime so far, shallot, and grapes. How difficult is that? All right, now I'm
It's
checking my list
reminding me of
because I want to make
spring.
sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, I
Yeah.
did. Orange.
Ooh.
So we're talking bright, lots of bright flavors with this. And as soon as this is sitting, it's going to marinate a little bit more. I'm going to fry up some of these little sausage sliders that I've custom blend with my own seasoning. The Italian seasoning mix that I tend to use is equal parts dried basil, dried oregano, rosemary, marjoram, cilantro, thyme, savory, and red pepper flakes or chili. Savory for some folks, I think people see what savory is in the grocery store, but a lot of people have never seen it. I think it's optional. I know what it tastes like, so I will use it, but I think the majority of people probably wouldn't know if you didn't put it in there. If you don't like thyme or if you don't like one of the seasonings, don't put it in or substitute it to what you like. All right, we have acids three-way: lime, orange, and lemon. And in theory, you could almost, if you had wanted to, you could cut up your orange, peel it, and just leave little bites of orange in there. But you know that's going to be my lunch later, my treat or my garnish. Look at this. And this is why you don't need any other acid. Can you see how much of the juice is in there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is, I'm going to just add a few other things now. You could add celery here. I'm not going to add celery because I have some of the folks home today are not big celery fans. I could add celery salt. It would be perfectly fine. And I'm just going to add really, really basic other ingredients, and this is going to sit and it's going to marinate.
So, Frank, would you suggest adding raisins? Is that something that raisins would taste good in?
If you heated the raisins first, or let the raisins soak either in an alcohol base or even a little bit of orange juice, and let them soak first, then strain them out, because raisins, if you just threw raisins into this marinade, I don't think they would marinate as well. But if you were to soak raisins, even in hot water with a little bit of baking soda, it will help soften them, then rinse them, and then throw them in. It could. Mm-hmm. You know, I love dried dates. I love raisins, but I'm not a big fan of putting raisins in certain foods. So I had to think twice. Texture-wise, I think it would be kind of cool. But it will depend on, I think it would say it'd be an interesting thing to find out, really, quite frankly. Let's see, what else goes in here? I am going to add some mint, some parsley in the fresh variety. Oh boy, I got to tell you, you want to make somebody salivate in the summer, fresh mint. There's just something about the smell of fresh mint, unless you happen to have an aversion to it, that will just make you automatically start to think summer, think freshness, think fruit, think lamb in my case, because I happen to love lemon or mint and lamb. This is not going to be a fancy mini dice. I actually want this to have a little bit of texture in the dice. You could put cilantro in this, totally, it would be great. And actually, a lot of people would use cilantro. I'm using whatever I happen to have in my little mini vase there, which I think I have a little of everything. You could also use different colored basils. You could do Thai basil, which has a different flavor, different color. Totally up to you. This is one of these things where let your flavor and what appeals to you work for you. All right. I've got my fresh herbs now, and then the final thing is a couple tablespoons of a good quality olive oil. Now, another way to enhance the flavor is if you happen to have a lemon flavored olive oil or an herbed olive oil, would be really, really good.
It would just bring it up a notch.
Totally. I think it would really, really bring it up a nice notch. Now, because this is a salad and I'm looking at the color of it, I'm gonna add some more greens because I happen to see leafy herbs, somewhat like a salad themselves. So I've got some diced in there, but I'm now going to throw a little bit of whole ones in because this is going to kind of round out this sort of extra feel that this is more than just a topping or a chutney, and it gives you a little bit of something. I am trying to pull out all the stems because they're never any good. But I like having a little bit of the leaf. I make a parsley salad that literally is all parsley. That is the leaf. Sometimes I'll mix shallots in it, and it's one of my favorite salads when I'm going to serve leftover roast beef with a horseradish drizzle on top. The pepperiness works really well. All right.
That sounds good.
I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think I got everything. Now, there is one thing that you could add to this that I didn't add. I am going to add just a little bit of red pepper flakes. There is one thing that I did not add to this is cumin. You could put roasted cumin that you've heated up a little bit, ground, and add to this. It would give this a... My household, cumin is not one of the flavors of my household. If I were making this just for me, I would have put cumin in this for sure. All right, that's what this looks like. So we're going to let this sit really and just do its business for a little bit as we get ready to transition over to our sausage.
Guys, please tap the screen and share the live and give us a follow here at Food Talk TV. We really appreciate it.
All right, so alongside this, while that's heating up, I'm going to make a super, super quick traditional salad. So when I would serve this, I'm going to serve the salad with the sausage patties on top. So I'm going to make one as a slider, but I'm going to show you how you could do it two different ways. I'm going to use bok choy. I love bok choy. It's just a nice, different taste. I cleaned some of it, but even when you clean bok choy, you still have to double check when you cut it off.
Even texture-wise, too, it's different.
In there surprising. What's that?
Even texture-wise, too, bok choy is very unique.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's it's just a simple, nice variety, different. It goes really well in soups, but I'm going to use it fresh as just kind of a different texture lunch salad. Because remember, these dishes, while they totally could play out for anything, lunch, dinner, I'm doing them for lunch. So, and the reason I'm doing all this right now is because once I start touching the pork, I don't want to have to worry about touching anything that's already been cut. I've got a couple green onions. I'm just roughly angle cutting them. They're going in.
That's an apple, Frank?
It's a green apple with the skin. I don't care what these people say. There's no reason you can't include the skin. Not only it's got color, it's got flavor, and it's got texture. Stop cutting the skins off of apples. Clean them first. I don't understand it. I don't. But you remember now, this is going to be served with pork. So apples and pork are a natural partner. So I'm going to include some apples. And I had an apple in the cabinet in the basket. Why not? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what apple. I tend to not have a lot of red apples handy. I like tartar apples, but I think you could do this with any kind of apple you want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to use some endive. So this is an Italian. I don't know what you call it. It's like a cabbage.
Yeah.
It's a softer cabbage. I think it's a lot less difficult to eat. It doesn't process on your insides as much. It's got a little bit of pepperiness to it, which is what I really like. I also
That's
think
right.
the
Skin got
color.
vitamins.
What's that?
Chef Val Cooking says skin's got vitamins. Definitely, for sure.
I totally agree. I eat my potato skins too. I don't take skins off of if I can.
Even
So I'm
Fancy Puppy
using
says
the
it too.
purple endive here as sort of my lettuce filler. It's pretty. It's different color. It adds some vibrancy. You could use Napa cabbage, but I'm telling you, I went in the store and I was like, the Napa cabbage prices were outrageous right now. Endives are not going to have as much crunch, so you could use any other kind of cabbagey flavor you want. I'm going to add a couple Roma tomatoes just for redness and for sweetness. Remember, this is vegetables, but tomatoes are not a vegetable. They're a fruit.
Mm-hmm.
They also add that extra sweetness to anything that you're going to cook. You know, this is one of those salads that if you were going to make this kind of salad, it's not the salad that I would say will keep for very long. So don't make a lot. Make enough for the people who are eating, because it's probably not going to be one for the green side salad or this red and or purple and green. It's not going to be one that will last. So, and of course, if you want to try and last, maybe you want leftovers for work or school the next day. Don't put dressing on it until you're ready. And let people add their own dressing.
A lot of people make that mistake, Frank. They always put them, then all of a sudden it's wilted, and they think I think they want to like probably think that if I do it ahead of time, it's going to be good. I don't have to add, but then they don't realize it wilts it down.
Yep. There is only so anybody know, and you've heard me if you're a regular on Thursday. There's only one set of greens that I ever will put dressing on more than 2 hours before. Anybody know which one that is? Anybody got answers?
I'm a guess.
What you
Romaine?
got? What's that?
I'm a guess. Romaine?
No.
Spinach?
Nope. All of those simple leafy ones, anytime you add an acid to them, they're going to soften. Except the only one that doesn't, I tell you, I think they're going to be indestructible like the cockroach, is kale.
I was going to say
Kale?
kale next. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is one of my favorite greens to do if I'm going to do a buffet, because I will put that in with some fennel, some fresh red, sliced fennel root, and I am telling you, it is the perfect green because it's so hearty, it's indestructible with the marinade. All right, yes. Before you come at me, I've washed these, but I did not peel the carrots either. Guess what? You don't have to peel carrots. That's just visual.
You can put it in if you want.
Yeah. Of course, I got the dog hoping I'm going to drop a carrot. Oh, yeah. Loves his carrots. Peanut butter and carrots. He's very happy if that's all. Although he is always happy after the live to come clean the floor for me. All right. So I've got my salad now done. Let's give it a little bit. This is why I didn't want to start the sausage until everything was done. Like, doesn't this scream? It's not quite summer, but we're ready for spring.
Oh, yes.
Now, what most people will tell you, you have to salt your salad before you salt and pepper your salad before you add the dressing. Because I'm using a flavor seasoning already, I'm actually going to use my Italian seasoning mix that I already made because it's got all my other seasoning. That's what because I want these to tie together with the sausage a little bit. So I used my own seasoning mix. I could have actually used either seasoning mix. They both would have been good. All right, we've got salad now as a side. Let's check out our marinated grapes.
That looks really good, Frank. I could just taste the mint.
Yes.
My mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Feel it.
You know what else
We
would be
also
good
have a
in this?
question for you, Frank.
What's that?
Someone asked, what's the best way to wash potatoes and carrots?
The best way to wash potatoes and carrots is to have a soft-sided scrub brush that you have only for food. Run it under medium warm water, and scrub them with under running water or in a bowl with running water so that you could scrub, rinse, and then give it a good clean rinse, and then dry them off. You don't want to let them
Frank, we're having
wet.
a little bit of squeakiness in the background. I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know what's going on today with this. Could be the birds. All right.
Sounded like feedback a little bit.
What's that?
It sounded like a little feedback when you were talking, like almost feedback, like following it, like a delay kind of thing.
That's really weird. I don't know. We'll have to fix it. I know there was a bunch of updates that just came through last night. So, all right. Marinade is almost done. There's only one thing I would do now to add to it is pomegranate seeds.
Oh.
This was not part of the original recipe, but pork and pomegranates go really, really well. And look at, doesn't that just look so much more inviting?
Yeah. It gives it color. It makes it pop.
It does. It gives you this little extra pop of color. I love pomegranate anyhow. I like the sourness. I like the sharpness. I love the color.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now let's get down to business and wrap up this little shenanigans here.
Guys, you can find these recipes on our website at foodtalktv.com as well, and they'll be available hopefully by tonight, Frank.
I'll start rolling them out tomorrow morning and then tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Nice.
All right. I don't need a great big sear on this. I just need some simple heat. So I'm waiting. I can feel it. I'm looking for some olive oil just to add a little bit. If you happen to be a bacon grease person, perfect time to throw out a little bacon grease. I do have it. I just forgot to grab it.
Make sure y'all tap the screens and share the live.
Thank you. All right. All I'm doing now, remember, there's no filler in this. It's just ground pork sausage and all those herbs and flavors that I added and let sit in the refrigerator. And I actually, when I would do this, I will do this right from the refrigerator. I normally wouldn't let it sit out because I want it to stay nice and firm. And I'm just going to make little tiny sliders. I'm making sliders for a very specific reason. More crust factor. I love the contact with the hot burner. This also works really well with the grill. But if you make a meatball style, then you have to constantly be fussing with it if you want all the slides to get cooked. So I'm going to make them more of a little slider style. Plus, they cook super fast.
Sounds
and because
delicious
this has
already.
fat in it, I added just a little bit of olive oil. This is also a non-stick skillet, electric skillet. I think I've gotten more use of this skillet since I started to cook for TikTok and for Food Talk than I had ever before.
Electric skillets are really good. I like them for pancakes. I like them, the griddles for the pancakes and stuff. And
well, and they're great if your kitchen gets really, really hot fast. I find that they're a perfect way to cook and when it's hot and you don't have to heat up the whole kitchen.
Yes.
And if you have an extension cord, you can use them outside as long as it's not raining.
Yep.
So So I didn't measure these out. All I'm doing is making sure that with each one, I've got some nice flavor with all of the mix. So you could probably get per pound anywhere from 6 to 8, depending on the size. All right. I'm using this rag to wipe my hands from the sausage, so I won't use it for anything else. But I also, at this point, I'm going to try to avoid touching anything until I wash my hands.
Guys, tap that screen and share the live. Let's get this chat going, guys. We have 5.3 likes already, and we have 6 shares. We really appreciate it if you could tap that screen and share the live.
All right. While that's doing its business, let's make a dressing. Rice vinegar. This is equal parts. So it really will depend on your taste preferences. If you like less vinegar, more oil, balance it out. I'll have the recipe for it online it'll be online as well, but you get to play with it. But what's in it? I've got sesame oil, olive oil, rice wine vinegar, little balsamic glaze, this would also be really great if you were going to add strawberries to the salad. Balsamic glaze goes really wonderful. I'm adding some hoisin sauce, but you could add honey if you wanted, or in a pinch, one of my favorite additions to when I make salad dressings, if I don't have honey, is I use whatever preserves I have, apricot or orange marmalade. I throw a scoop in it and mix it up. That gives me sweetness and texture. And a little bit of crushed ginger. And because I don't want it to be overwhelmingly garlicky, I'm just throwing in a couple whole cloves of garlic. Now, if you make a big batch of this will last in your refrigerator for quite a while. So, it is so quick to generally make your own dressing that I'm always amazed that I have to buy dressing. Matter of fact, Paul will often say, why don't you just make one of your special dressings? My special dressing is usually sesame or olive oil, a vinegar, and marmalade. That's usually what I start with. I'm going to add just a little bit of my mixed seasoning because that's the one thing that's running through all of my dishes. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water, not much, just enough to thin it because I don't want this to be like a blue cheese style dressing. I just want it to coat.
Nice.
Now this can mellow out a little bit.
Hey, Ashton, just like Granny's in the house. How you doing?
Ashton was making one of my favorite foods live just before I started, is shrimp.
Yeah, Ashton, we don't know why the audio is muffled a little bit.
I don't know.
It's been going in there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is the audio issue today. Something is going on.
I just flipped over the sausage patty. So what I did is a sausage patty with ground sausage with my own custom house blend seasoning. Now, if you like if you want to make breakfast sausage, you would add sage to the mix. When I put the rest,
much more of a southern style or a breakfast sausagey one, more like a Jimmy Dean. I've kept it a little bit more Italian inspired by using the other herbs. And it needs a few more minutes.
Frank, Ashton says, taking with your earphones again because it started fixing it. Yeah, when you started touching it, it started like
better.
The same.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the problem is. I used them earlier and they were fine, so I'm not sure. I'll have to see if I have to reset something on them.
Okay. A little better, she said. Okay.
All right, let's get this party started here.
In the meantime, everybody tap the screens and share the live. We are at 6.4K likes. Let's see if we can push it up to 7.
And please
Now,
give Food Talk TV a follow.
You see that I got my my handy dandy cucumber that I am so fond of. When it comes to, I like my English cucumbers because I do not need to peel them. I just need to wash them. I could put the cucumber very easily in this side salad. I'm not going to, because what I'm going to do is I'm putting the cucumbers into the slider bun, on top of the slider bun.
You're making me want to rethink dinner tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm mimicking on this particular set of sliders, think in terms of, instead of putting tomatoes on the slider, I've got a cucumber. I'm going to put the sausage, and then I'm going to layer the grapes on top of that. I did have some tomatoes that I'm just going to throw in. I had a little extra I wanted to use up, so they'll go in the salad, or maybe I'll just put them as a garnish. They'll look pretty on as a garnish.
Hey, Frank, Ashton says, oh, they do that in Sweden with the cucumbers on the sliders.
Yes, they do. The Netherlands, they do as well, and I love it, especially open-faced sandwiches. Or, if you're going to use have sandwiches with salmon, definitely.
She said they call them, I'm going to probably say this wrong, smorgas.
Oh, really?
I think that.
I won't even try and practice that one. Now, it was Easter recently, so a lot of us may have some leftover hard-boiled eggs. Guess where they're going? Right in the salad. No sense, and this is a perfect little quick salad that you can use up all those things because everything goes well together. That's going to be my lunch. I can see it now.
Andrea, he's making a salad, and he's just doing some sliders. He just cut up some cucumbers, and they look amazing. We can find these recipes on foodtalktv.com.
Yes, you will
find
be
all
able
our
to see them
recipes there.
tonight. We go live every single day. One of our creators goes live. Many of the recipes then are shared over the next few days with the on the website blog for In the Kitchen, and we have a variety of types of recipes. We have nice thing is about it is we have a group of food content creators that also are diverse in their food needs and food dietary. So we have gluten-free, we have keto. I know gluten-free Mama Andrea does a lot of really super clean dishes. Also, what I like about those recipes, you never feel like you're sacrificing flavor from them. All right, I think we are almost ready.
I'm so excited to see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
You and me both. Because some days I have to say the same thing. I don't know until it comes out exactly what it's going to look like again, but I'm always excited.
Well, my tummy is already growling for some. Just send me a piece through the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Smell-o-vision,
Watch our lives.
taste-o-vision.
This is the hardest part about the lives is you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh, I want that now." All right, I think I am ready. I'm going to do a little test here. Everybody know the quick test if you happen to be like me because I left my thermometer in the kitchen. When you're cooking meat, rare, loose hand, rare, medium, well done. It's a simple, quick way. I still advocate learn how to read a thermometer and have a thermometer, but it's in the other room. And I know the dog is sitting right outside the back door here waiting for me to drop something.
I think that's always too, Andrea. Andrea says, I always got to eat while I watch Frank and then pretend I'm eating. What do you think?
That. You know, I'm taking that as a compliment. I'm taking that as a compliment that everybody wants to eat when they're on my live.
Yeah.
Sketchy had pretzels one day. She's eating pretzels because she's.
Yes, I remember that day. All right, there are my home season sliders on my little roll of choice. Now, you could eat this very, very simply without a roll. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to serve one. I'm going to let you see it with the roll and how I could serve this if you happen to be somebody who wasn't interested in the bread.
Gluten-free or keto, okay? Yeah.
Give you some options, 2 different ways that you could, because, you know, I think it's important that we show recipes that are flexible. Now, I might have even thought
He is making sliders.
I'm making.
Somebody was asking what you were making.
All right, ready to go, folks? Here we go. Let me move something so you could see. I want to give you. Let me give you, because you know I always have cookie tins around. Is that better? Trying to angle it. Here, let's do it this way. There you go. You know, I think it's part of that new reverse imagery on the camera that I'm still getting used to. All right. I made sliders. I made a home seasoned sausage slider with my own seasoning mix that I'll have online. I just think I've got all the ingredients. Why should I bother buy a commercial one? And I can customize it. I like a lot of fennel in my ground sausage, so I can amplify it up. You can make a quick slider. Obviously, I didn't put cheese on this, so I went as simple as possible. I used a cucumber to mimic my tomato. And best of all is I'm using this incredibly sweet, savory grape salsa. Now, will this be a mess to try and eat as a slider? Oh, yeah. So you know what that means? You give everybody a fork and knife and you just put and add some of that marinade, because for a lot of Italians, the best part of a salad is dipping the bread into the salad dressing, the leftover salad dressing. So, you know, you can make this a couple different ways. So here's 2 different ways. If you were gluten or gluten-free, you could make either one of these versions.
Yummy.
Now,
it looks amazing.
Yes, it looks so good.
Another way to do this is to use the salad dressing that I made. Add your dressing to the salad itself. Just enough. You don't want to like overwhelm it. And then make your little divot, and you can put the rest of the grapes with the citrus right on top. You could even use this as your salad dressing if you didn't want to use a traditional salad dressing that you made up. In my case, I did it both ways.
Wow.
Oh, that looks amazing.
I like that plate too.
Simple way. Then I just will go back and I'll add a few more pomegranates to make it look pretty.
Oh, that wonderful pop of color and texture.
I think so. And they do add, I will say, they totally add to the taste, because, you know, you're eating some marinated flavors and then all of a sudden you get this little pop of sharpness. You could add a little sea salt on here if you want, or Himalayan salt as a final finishing. Totally will work. So this is lunch.
Wow. Yum, yum.
Amazing. Right. Beautiful, Frank.
So using one base, 3 different ways that you could serve this as a meal. And I'm 5 minutes right on deck for 5 minutes of.
Right on time.
Questions?
Awesome.
Folks, thoughts?
Well, I just want to let
Just
everybody know that
amazing.
this recipe will be available tomorrow on foodtalktv.com. So make sure y'all check that out, because I know I will be running there to grab this grape salad recipe.
Yes.
I am so glad. I'm glad to have you on. Everybody, please make sure you're following us. So tomorrow is Friday. We will be live from one of our Food Talk friends' kitchens. Saturday morning is, I believe, is Ashton Saturday morning. Christine is Sunday night. And then we rotate again right back on deck for all of our creators. All right, everybody. Have a great
Thanks,
week.
Frank. Bye, Vicky.
Thanks for joining
Bye.
me. Bye.
Have a great day, everybody.
You
Thanks
too.
for watching.